In this exercise, we have to simplify a given formula. You can see the formula on your screen. We can eliminate a few parentheses from this formula. It's full of parentheses, so if we can eliminate any of those, the formula gets simpler and more transparent. Okay, let's analyze the formula first. So the main operator is definitely this implication here. It connects its left-hand side, which is actually a compound formula, and the right-hand side, which is also a kind of compound formula. Okay, in such situations, you can definitely eliminate the outermost pair of parentheses. So this parenthesis here and this parenthesis here. Now let's focus on the left-hand side. Can we simplify this part of the formula further? Yeah, so here in this part of the formula, the main operator is a conjunction. And if you look at the precedence table of operators, you can see that conjunction is stronger, or we can say it has a higher precedence than implication does, which means that if I remove the parentheses around this conjunction, the order of evaluating those operators stays the same. So first, because due to the precedence table, you definitely need to evaluate the conjunction, and only after that you can evaluate the implication. So actually removing the parentheses I removed doesn't alter the meaning of the formula. Everything is the same. Yeah, okay, so now let's see, what about this part of the formula? Can we eliminate those parentheses? Well, if you look at the table again, you can see that conjunction is associative. It means that if you have two or more conjunctions, and yes, we do, then it doesn't matter in what order you evaluate them, resulting the fact that you can remove this pair of parentheses. It doesn't matter if you evaluate x and y first, or you evaluate y and not z first, the result will be the same. Okay, we simplified quite a lot of parentheses out so far. Now let's focus on the right-hand side of the implication. So here we have an equivalence. We should compare the precedence of the equivalence with the precedence of implication, and as you can see here, unfortunately, equivalence has a lower precedence than implication does. This means that if I removed this pair of parentheses, then the evaluation order would be altered dramatically. Then we would get a totally different formula. Then we should evaluate implication first, and only after that the equivalence. So we have to keep the parentheses because we need to evaluate the equivalence first, and only after that the implication. Right. Okay, so let's see, what about the remaining parentheses here? Can we remove them? Well, no, we cannot, because if you look at the table and look for negation and disjunction, you can see that negation is stronger. It has a higher precedence. This means that if we removed those two parentheses, then we would negate y first, and then only after that we would evaluate the disjunction. However, this is not was the original content of the formula. we definitely have to evaluate the disjunction first, and then we should negate the disjunction itself. So we have to keep those parentheses as well.